Today we'll learn about how to teach new communication skills. We'll discuss how to teach communication skill using prompts. Children with social communication challenges often have difficulty learning to use gestures and verbal language to communicate with others and can have difficulty communicating spontaneously. You can use prompts and rewards to teach your child to use more complex communication skills. You can teach your child to use new gestures or verbal language and to use these skills together. You can also expand the reasons your child communicates and help your child communicate more spontaneously by using prompts that provide different levels of support. This strategy is most helpful when your child is highly motivated by the activity and when your child needs to learn a new skill, such as how to indicate that he or she wants something or how to say no instead of hitting. It works best when you have the ability to control materials because you will need to hold back the reward until your child responds to your prompt. Now let's talk about which types of prompts you can use to help your child use a more complex communication skill. These prompts are listed in the slide from the least supportive to the most supportive prompt. First, a time delay is the least supportive prompt. After your child communicates, wait with an expectant look for your child to use a more complex communication skill independently. For example, if your child says the word tickle, wait with an expectant look to help your child say, "Tickle me, mommy," before tickling him or her. If your child does not use a more complex communication skill within 10 seconds, add more support, such as asking, "What do you want?" Because a time delay doesn't tell your child what communication skill to use. It is best to use it after your child has responded to a more supportive prompt several times, such as a question, choice, or language model. Next, ask your child a question to help your child communicate and expand his or her vocabulary. For example, while you're getting ready for bath time, point to the faucet and ask your child, "What do you want?" to help your child say, "Turn on water." You can also help your child communicate about different aspects of an activity. For example, during a tickle game, you can ask, "Where do you want tickles?" "Who do you want to tickle you?" Or "How many tickles do you want?" Be aware of your child's skill level. What, where, and who questions are easier than how, why, or when questions. Next, we have fill in the blank sentence. Begin a sentence but leave off the last part to allow your child to fill in the missing words. For example, offer your child 2 different snacks and say, "I want," to help your child tell you the snack he or she wants. To help your child key into the missing word, use gestures or visual cues. For example, place the baby doll in a bed, point to it and say, "The baby is in the," and wait for your child to say, "bed." This prompt is useful for children who are more verbal but have difficulties finding the right word to say. Next, we have give a choice. Present your child with 2 choices to answer a question. For example, hold up a red and blue shirt and ask your child, "Do you want to wear the red shirt or the blue shirt?" If your child always repeats the second choice, give choices between something your child likes, say it first, and something your child doesn't like, say it second. If your child repeats the second item, give it to him or her, even though you know the child doesn't want it. This helps your child learn to pay attention to your choice. If your child says the name of the unwanted object, make sure to provide more support so that your child is eventually able to get what he or she does want. Next, we have model language. Model a word or phrase you want your child to imitate. For example, when your child wants a car, hold one up and say the word "car" and wait for your child to repeat the word before giving it to him or her. This type of prompt is helpful for children who are just beginning to use verbal language. It is sometimes easy to overuse this type of prompt with more verbal children because they often respond immediately. If your child is consistently able to imitate your language, be sure to start with a less supportive prompt. Next, we have verbal routine. Verbal routines are meaningful phrases your child has heard many times. For example, ready, set, go, peekaboo, or 1, 2, 3. To use a verbal routine as a prompt, start the phrase, but leave off the last part and wait with anticipation. For example, ready, set, and leave the go part blank. This type of prompt is helpful for children who are just beginning to use verbal language because it is familiar, repetitive, and consistent. Next, we have model a gesture. Demonstrate the gesture you want your child to use. Pair it with a spoken word so that your child has a chance to learn the word as well. For example, when your child wants to leave an area, model waving, say bye-bye, and wait for your child to imitate you. Or point to a toy your child wants, label it, and wait for your child to imitate the point. If your child does not imitate the gesture, use physical guidance to help him or her use the gesture. Last, we have physical guidance. Physical guidance is the most supportive prompt. To use it, physically help your child complete a gesture. When your child is looking at a toy on the shelf, physically raise and shape your child's hand to point to the toy. When your child wants to go outside, take your child's hand and help him or her tap on the door. You should use physical guidance if your child does not respond to a gesture prompt. Remember, you want your child to be able to experience success by your third prompt, so you will start with the least supportive prompt you think your child can respond to successfully, and then increase support as necessary. For example, if your child is sometimes able to use a two-word phrase to ask for things when you ask the question, "What do you want?" and your child is almost always able to use a two-word phrase when you use the language model, start with a question prompt. Then follow up with the language model prompt if your child has difficulty. You also want to decrease your support over time. When your child is almost always able to use a two-word phrase when you ask, "What do you want?" then start using a time delay as your first prompt and follow up by asking the question if your child is not successful. Now we're going to watch a short video clip. The mother uses a time delay to help her daughter increase the complexity of her spontaneous language during an art activity. The mother gives her daughter a choice of marker colors. The child responds by using a single word to request, pink. The mother then uses a time delay by waiting with an expectant look. Her daughter responds by using a full sentence, "I want pink, please." She rewards her daughter by giving her the pink crayon. The mother uses a time delay again after her daughter requests a marker by using a single word, green. Again, this helps her daughter use a spontaneous sentence, "Mommy, I want green." Notice how the mother creates multiple opportunities to prompt her child to use more complex communication by using small portions and letting her have only one crayon or marker at a time.
Do you want pink or orange?
Pink! Pink! Oh, pink, please.
Here we go,
Oh,
Ryan.
orange, please.
I have markers. Do you want the purple or the brown?
I want yellow, please.
You want the yellow? Here we go. Ryan, do you want orange or green?
Orange! Green! Mommy, I'm green.
Here we go.
Here, the mother uses a familiar verbal routine to help her son expand the complexity of his language. The mother joins in her child's play and uses playful obstruction to create an opportunity for him to communicate. He responds by imitating her words. She then uses a verbal routine to encourage him to use a word without a model by saying, "Ready, set." He responds by filling in the word "go," and the mother rewards him by moving the train.
Stop, train. Go, train. Here comes the police car. Woo, woo. He's gonna get you. Woo, woo, woo. He's gonna tell you to stop
Let's see an example of what teaching with prompts for using communication looks like. On this slide, Vivian's mom is working to teach her to use a single word to request by using communication prompts and a reward. Vivian is having a snack, and her mother focuses on her by sitting face to face with Vivian and using simple language to talk about the food. She lets Vivian eat a few crackers and then creates an opportunity by holding up the next cracker. Her mother then waits to see how Vivian will communicate. Vivian responds by reaching for the cracker. Her mother then prompts Vivian to use a single word by asking the question, "What do you want?" When Vivian does not respond, her mother uses a more supportive prompt by modeling the word cracker for Vivian to imitate. Vivian doesn't respond, so her mother models the word cracker again. This time, Vivian responds with the syllable ka. Her mother rewards this communication by giving Vivian the cracker and expands by saying cracker. Notice how Vivian's mom uses 3 prompts to help Vivian say cracker and does not reward her with the cracker until Vivian makes a good attempt by saying ka. On the next slide, we're going to watch some examples of parents using several prompts together to help their children use more complex communication. The mother adds support to help her child use more complex communication successfully. The mother encourages her son to initiate by holding up, thus controlling access to a figurine girl that he wants. After her son initiates with a reach, she prompts him to use more complex language by asking the question, "What do you want, Isaac?" Initially, he imitates her question, and she needs to ask the question again. He then responds by saying, "I want to get more." She then adds support to help him use more specific language by saying, "More what?" When he struggles to use the correct label, she provides her son with more support by giving choice, animals or girl. He responds correctly by saying the word girl. Once he uses a label, she immediately rewards him with access to the toy.
Wait for me!
Wait for me.
I want to go!
I want to go.
What do you want, Isaac?
What do you want?
What do you want?
I want to get more.
More? More what?
More,
Animals or girl?
turtle.
Okay, there you go. Good asking. That was perfect, Andrew.
Now, I would like us to think of 1 or 2 goals that we'll target. These goals should be related to increasing your child's use of communication, such as using a gesture, word, phrase, or sentence to request something or follow direction. Write your goals on your practice plan. Next, think about a play activity and a daily routine during which you can practice these techniques. Remember that you'll need to add several minutes to your daily routines in order to have time to use the techniques. Once you decide on the activities, write them down on your practice plan. Next, think about the techniques that we talked about today, prompts for using communication. Choose the techniques that you'll use to help your child use more complex communication skills, including the specific prompts, and write these down on the sequence graphic in the practice plan. You should plan to practice these strategies for 15 to 20 minutes per day during play, as well as during 1 or 2 daily activities. Also, think about what may be hard about carrying out your practice plan and brainstorm possible solutions. The materials for this presentation are from Teaching Social Communication to Children with Autism and Other Developmental Delays, the Project Impact Guide to Coaching Parents, and the Project Impact Manual for Parents by Dr. Ingersoll and colleagues. For more information, please visit the publisher's website.